So if you don't feel like you're enough right now, or you don't feel like you're meant for a big life, then this video is for you. And I want you to understand that that thought is extremely expensive, because those thoughts are quietly shaping every single decision you make today, and they could be holding you back from becoming the highest version of yourself. So in this video, we're going to talk about it. Now, not too long ago, I made a video about limiting beliefs and how limiting beliefs are extremely expensive. And if you haven't checked out that video, I highly suggest you watch it. But one thing that I mentioned within that video was, as humans, we're rational beings. And what that means is we try to look for evidence to prove ourselves right. So if you don't think you are meant for a big life, if you don't think you are enough, you're going to find evidence of looking for that. A really good example is for some of you who've grown up in like a small town. Currently where I'm at, like I'm pretty much in a pretty small city, or at least pretty small to me, because I constantly run into people who I went to high school with. There's not that many high schools here, or there's like one local mall. So it's pretty much a small city. And one of the cons of living in a small city is sometimes people have small-minded thinking. Like they don't think there's a life outside of this environment. And what happens with a lot of people, and this is something I've noticed, is they just don't think that they're meant for a big life. They don't think that these amazing things can happen towards them in their big life. And a lot of that will either be due to their environment or the social pressures or just the limiting beliefs that they already come in with. And I want you to understand this powerful quote. I mean, I've seen it all the time. It was by Henry Ford. It's whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. And that's essentially what I'm saying here. Like, if you truly believe that you're not enough and you're not meant for a big life, you will find evidence. You'll find people who didn't do much with their life, and you'll think, you know what, their reality is going to be just like my reality and nothing's going to happen. However, on the contrary, you can look at it from a different perspective and say, no, that's not going to be my life. I can accomplish big things. There is abundance around me, and it may not be evident right now. You may not have the evidence to prove that right now, but you know you're stepping into that version of yourself. And the first thing I will say here, and the way to break out of this sort of thinking, this small-minded frame thinking, is you have to get around bigger environments. It's really hard, right? I know for some of you, you might be in your hometown, you might be comfortable within that environment, but the first time I realized this was just through traveling. Traveling will completely open your eyes up, if you haven't done it already, to understanding that this world is much more bigger than just your job, a couple of your friends, and a few of the social circles that you hang around with. There's so much more out here in this life, and you can be destined to achieve all these things. I think a lot of it comes down to a decision. You have to make the decision that you're either willing to accept a life where you're not enough and that's okay with you, or you're not willing to accept that and you're willing to work towards the goals that you aspire to have. And that's who I speak to in my videos. But I do understand that there's a lot of people who think that they're a victim to their circumstances. They think that because they grew up in a certain environment, or they come from this background, or they're from this city or this hometown, that is the capacity that they can only aspire to reach. And I think about this quite a lot, right? Because a lot of people need evidence. A lot of people may not have symbols from their hometown or someone that looks like them in these positions of success that they aspire to have, which is why I think the internet is such a beautiful thing, because I guarantee you can find successful people who might look like you, who come from your similar background, or who you can resonate with online and really share and connect a message with them. And that's power, because that's what I had to do in the first stages of my journey, where when you're making the decision that you are more than enough and you're capable of a big life, you have to surround yourself with that. And that's one of the other pillars that I want to talk about, right? Oftentimes I find people don't think they're enough because of their environment. It's either the people that they hang around with, and for me personally, I think back to when I was in university, and sometimes I noticed when I would talk to certain people who would either drain my energy or drain my goals versus other people who would uplift and inspire my goals. And it was like night and day. I could tell somebody what I was working towards or what I'm aspiring to achieve, and another person can completely suck the life out of those goals, talk negative over my goals, or not really encourage me to go further with my career or my life. Whereas I can talk to someone else and they're the complete opposite. They're actually encouraging me to go further, encouraging me to strive for more. So if you feel like you're not enough right now, I want you to really assess the people who are in your life. Like, who do you spend time with? Are you consuming content like this, or are you spending time on the other side of social media? Like, I'm at the point now where my close friends and the people I spend a lot of time with, like, they speak life into my goals. Like, they have so much faith and belief into me. Even my close friend right now, he's probably watching this video. He told me he just recently graduated from his school. He's transitioning in the next side of his career. He's getting another job. And what I did is I made it an effort to really encourage him, like, brother, keep going. Like, continue to think big, continue to strive for more goals. And I could see like his energy and his physiology was really excited to share these things with me, because I'm speaking life into his goals. So I know that he doesn't suffer without thinking he's not enough, because he's telling me the goals and the visions that he has for his life and his future. And the best part is he can accomplish that. But I ask you, as you're watching this video right now, you have to really assess, like, do you have that in your life? And for me, I've always said that I would rather be alone than have people who are sucking and draining the life and energy out of my goals. Because when you're alone, you can gravitate towards successful resources and things to help you navigate through this process. You can read the books, you can listen to the podcasts, you can watch videos just like this that will encourage you that you are more than enough and more than capable to going after your goals. So like we talked about before, the first thing is evidence, right? You need to find evidence that you are enough. And a lot of people need to see that through examples, whether it's in close proximity, whether it's directly through a mentor or mentorship opportunity, or whether it's online and you see someone from afar. But I'm always cautious with the online piece because you have to be very careful with some of these figures online who are presenting something and you don't always know if it's true. But that evidence alone will start to guide you and encourage you to go after big things. Like even when I think about myself and, after graduating from my university, one thing that really inspired me was when I was learning and looking at all the successful alumni, like the people who graduated from my university did exceptional things, from actors to businessmen to healthcare providers. Like all these things are extremely inspiring to see, and inspiring because they started from the same position that you were in. So that's the evidence that you need. And the next thing, if you feel like you're not enough, I want you to really start to focus on your confidence. And to me, all confidence is making small promises to yourself and sticking to them. It's basically asking yourself, are you the person that you truly say you are? And if someone was struggling with not feeling like they're enough in this life, I would say that they're having a confidence issue. They're struggling with believing in themselves and having the confidence in their own capabilities. And typically that comes from past evidence. And the way I personally started to slowly build my confidence was as early as I can remember, right? When I was at the age of 8 years old, I remember like I was always responsible for making my own bed, cleaning up my room. And I told myself every single morning I would wake up and make my bed. So I became very competent in that skill, and I do that like it's nothing. And you're probably nodding your head like, Miles, I make my bed every single day. What's the big deal here? But what you tend to forget is there's actually a lot of people who cannot make their bed in the morning. They're either so unorganized that they don't even prioritize cleaning up their environment or their room, or two, that they might be in a very depressive state and making their bed is a very difficult task for them. But making that commitment, saying, okay, I'm going to make my bed this morning, I'm going to wake up at this time, I'm going to accomplish this thing today. Those are small ways to build credibility with yourself, and that will then create the confidence you need to go after your goals and start understanding that you are more than enough. And then you'll get to a point where your confidence starts to compound. So then you'll go from making these small promises to yourself to then even bigger promises, like you'll apply that big job or that big career, or you'll write that massive exam that you know that's going to take a lot out of you. And those will slowly start to compound. And then you'll get to a point where other people are going to start to believe in you. Like you become the person that if you say something's going to happen, it's going to happen. Like when you say, I'm going to show up at this environment, you end up going to that environment. So that's the thing I really want you to emphasize is if you're feeling like you're not enough, if you're feeling down and you're in the state of wanting more for your life, confidence is the pillar that you need to focus on, because confidence is going to get you out of that state. Like if you were to give me a basketball right now and tell me that I have to shoot from half court and make it, I've built so much confidence in myself that even though I'll miss, I'm like, yeah, if you give me 30 shots, I'll hit one for sure. I will, because that's the confidence. And a lot of that confidence comes from those past experiences that I have, where I've proven to myself time and time again, where if I say something, it's going to happen. Another thing that really helped me, especially when you're not feeling like you're enough, is creating your own success file. So as humans, we go through our own emotions. I think that's what makes us so unique and special. But like for myself, I know that there's days where I'm not feeling the most confident. I'm not feeling as energetic to go after my goals. And there's other days where I have complete conviction and I know exactly where I want to be and exactly how I want to drive it. But how do you still perform on the days where you're not feeling like your best self? And for me, what really helped is creating something I call the success file. So essentially what that is you writing out your past achievements and accomplishments on a piece of paper. For me, I actually have it typed out on my laptop. And whenever I'm feeling down, whenever I have to be reminded that I am somebody capable of great success, I have to refer back to my success file. So on that file, I have like I've achieved a full ride in my scholarships that actually allowed me to pay for my university education. Or I had that time when I made the provincial level soccer team and I was recognized as one of the best in my city for the sport I love. Or that time when I had little to no sleep and I still performed one of the best speeches in my class and got awarded with an amazing award. But essentially you get the point. You all have success stories that you can refer back to. And I want you to go really deep with this. Like you can go as early as you can remember, because what you'll see is you'll have evidence of past success and you'll be reminded of yourself that you are enough. You are more than enough. And I leverage a success file whenever I'm feeling down, and I actually do it now. And funny enough, I'm going to do another one of these versions, but just for content creation. Like all the messages and positive responses that I get throughout these videos, I want to have a nice catalog of just storing them to remind myself on the days where I don't want to show up, on the days when I don't want to edit or I don't want to script or I don't want to film, that I'm still delivering and providing value to people out there. And the cool thing about the success file is you don't have to have these grandiose, oh, I won an Olympic gold medal at the age of 21 type of goals. Instead, they can be small, but they're constant reminders that you are enough, that you are capable of more. And I refer back to this, and this was an advice that someone had given me, and honestly, it transformed the way I approach thinking of myself enough. Another thing I really want to emphasize here is you need to stop living in this scarcity form of comparison. To me, I always look at comparison, and there's two ways I typically find people compare themselves to others. The first one is the scarcity level comparison. That's where when you see somebody accomplish a particular goal, you get scarcity because you're like, dang, they got this opportunity and now I can't get it, so I'm at a disadvantage. Or, oh my gosh, because they bought this amazing supercar, I can't get this supercar. And some people would call this being envious or being jealous, but to me, this is one of the worst forms of comparison, because what you're doing is you're living in a scarcity mindset. You feel like there's a limited amount of success and abundance out there. And when I was in school, I saw this a lot with the pre-medical students, because a lot of them felt like if someone else succeeded, then that means that they can't succeed. And what you would see there is people would lie to you, or they would give you misinformation or kind of gatekeep a lot of their goals and desires because they're scared scared that you'll succeed and surpass them. To me, this is an extremely flawed way of thinking about, because there is an abundance of success out there. Like, just because someone else achieved a particular opportunity, you shouldn't feel like as if you can achieve that. If anything, you should take the opposite approach, which is the more healthy way of comparison, where when someone achieves a particular goal, you actually get inspired. You actually get happy for them for a few reasons. Number one, you realize that that person just made it evident that that goal is possible. And for me, one thing that I love is healthcare and entrepreneurship, and it's always been a passion of mine. And a lot of people always ask me, like, what do you mean by that? Like, are you just trying to milk the system for money or anything like that? I have a passion for providing care to patients and helping them through a vulnerable time. But at the same time, I love the intricacies of business. I love how you can understand you can use skills in business to make you a better healthcare provider overall. And the coolest thing for me has always been when I can see examples of people doing that at the highest level, whether it's a mentor that is able to provide that sort of value, or someone else who I've seen online who's doing the thing that I actually set out to do. All that is it's evidence that it is possible for me. Like, even when I think to all my closest friends and all my high performers, like, I really truly mean this when I say this. I want all my friends to succeed. Right now, I want all my friends to be these 7-8 figure wealthy individuals who are completely content, who are healthy and holistic, and who are achieving every single one of their goals. Because I understand that you are an average of the people that you spend the most time with. And if I have friends that are closest to me that are succeeding, not only am I going to encourage them to go after their goals, but if they're a true friend, they're going to help you achieve your goals. And that energy is extremely contagious. Like I said before, I've spoken to people that suck the life out of your goals, and I've spoken to people that encourage and inspire your goals. And I know you know the feeling of when you talk to someone and they put life and energy into you, like, you feel like you can run through a brick wall. So that's what I want with the people who are closest to me. And I really encourage, especially all my high performers, don't be the person that's comparing yourself to other people online. Number one, because you don't always know the full story. But number two, don't have that scarcity form of comparison where you feel like if they achieve something, that means that you can't either. And the last thing I'll say in this video, and this part is extremely important, so if you're still with me, this is for you. You need to understand that in order to break that feeling like you're not enough, one of the best things I've seen work for me well is to continue to do hard things. If you're the type of person that consistently can do hard things, even when you know it's not easy, even when you know the going is extremely difficult, you will feel like you are enough. And for me, I want to share a very impactful story with you. For me, I've always been really good at running, but I've never truly enjoyed it until recently. I sort of got into a nice cadence with my running. I've learned to enjoy it, and I would sign up for these big races. And there was this one time where I signed up for this 10K, and during this 10K, I wanted to run really well. I wanted to do as best as I possibly can. But midway through the race, I kid you not, I had the worst cramp that I've ever experienced. I actually filmed a short form video of it, and feel free to check it out. Essentially, during that time, it was so bad that I had to pull over to the side of the race and I had to stop running. And if you know me, and if you ever ran with me before, like, I'm not the type of runner that would just pull over and stop running. So this was a really big deal for me. And what I told myself is I could have pulled off to the side, I could have gave up that race and, chalked it up and said, you know what, I got this really bad cramp, I wasn't gonna be able to finish it. But instead, I told myself, I feel outstanding, I feel amazing, and I got this. I was repeating to myself that I love doing hard things and I can continue to do this. And I kid you not only did I finish that race, but I actually finished that race in a sub 50. And for any of my runners out there, you'll know that a sub 50 10K is a pretty good time, especially for someone who isn't constantly training these running events. But the reason why that story was so impactful is I can use that story whenever I'm going through difficulty or adversity to remind myself that I am enough, that I can achieve hard things. And even last week, like, I think back to when I was in university and I had one of the busiest months ever. I called it March Madness, and essentially I had some project or something due every single day. During that time, I was working 3 jobs. I was a senior advisor on 2 different clubs. I was in a very academically intense program. And I remember when I had to write out all my deadlines for the month, because that's what I do to stay organized, I generally froze when I looked at my calendar because I was so confused as how I was going to be able to achieve all of this. This month was extremely difficult. There was a few days that month where I had to sacrifice on sleep, but nonetheless, I succeeded with that month. And I always think back to that month when I'm going through tough times or I have to balance quite a lot of things as evidence that I am enough and I can do hard things. So if you can really relate back to those moments in time when you were able to do hard things with your life and still succeed, this will remind you that you are enough. And if you're the person who is like, Miles, I don't have a single example of me doing anything hard, then I'm challenging you to do hard things. Take the long route instead of the short route. Do extra sets or extra reps within the gym because you want to train yourself into becoming the high performer that is capable of doing hard things. And I promise you, if you implement just one of these things that I shared within this video, that feeling of you are not enough will be quickly eradicated because you know you are enough. You know you have the evidence to prove it. You know you have the built-in robust mindset, and you know you can achieve anything you set your mind to. Now listen up. If any of you want specific one-on-one help breaking your limiting beliefs, making sure that you know that you are more than enough, and completing the high leverage tasks to make your goals inevitable, I want you to apply to the first link in my description. We'll see if you're a great fit. And for my high performers who want to be a part of a community of like-minded individuals, I'm currently building out a high performers community. This is where we can go much more in depth on these video topics. I can share more resources and strategies with you. The first link in the description for the waitlist, and once it drops, you'll be the first to be notified. So as I wrap up this video, if you don't think you're enough right now, I don't want you to change that thought. I want you to build out of that thought from the internal work that you'll be doing, from the confidence, from the success file, from doing hard hard things, you're going to quickly eradicate that feeling of not feeling like you're enough. Even when that self-doubt comes in, even when you're not having your best days, you'll have these things to reference to ensure that you are enough, because you are enough. So that's it for today's video. Thank you guys all for watching. You know what I always say, make sure to always believe that you will achieve. My name is Miles, aka Mr. High Performance, and I'll see you in the next video.